Good morning, my dear students. Today we are here with you for the session on plan, prepare and perform. And this is in continuation to our the sessions which we had done for you, which has been done by our faculty for in the context of BOS for your success. Today we are here with us our Honorable President CA Aniket Talati, our Honorable Vice President CA Ranjit Agarwal, our Honorable Chairman CA Vishal Doshi, and our Honorable Vice Chairman CA Dayanivas Sharma. Sir, I welcome you, all of you, for sparing your time. And it's really indeed going to be a very, very fruitful session for the students, because they are going to listen from all of you, and they are going to learn from your experience, because the kind of experience you have and the way you have also been there in this phase many years back. But I think while talking to the students, you will be reviving your old days also. And I think let's make it a big success. So thank you all for joining us. I'll welcome our Honorable Chairman to give his opening remarks. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vanna ji. Respected President of ICI, CA Aniket Sunil Talati ji. Respected Vice President of ICI, CA Ranjit Kumar Agarwal ji. Vice Chairman of Board of Studies Academic, CA Dayanivas Sharma ji. Director Board of Studies Academic, CA Vanna Nagpal ji. My dear students who have joined this webinar from across the country, a very, very good morning to you all. I take this pleasure in welcoming you all to this webinar, BOS for your success, plan, prepare, perform. My dear students, in 2 weeks' time, you would all be appearing for your intermediate or final examinations, May 2023. Exams, be it at whatever point in time, maybe 25 years back, when we or most of us would have given who are on this panel, or you are giving, exams is always a pressure cooker situation, I would say. There is a lot of anxiety and stress. And definitely the word CA exam, they multiply the anxiety and the stress. Friends, we are all privileged to have with us our respected President of ICI and Vice President of ICI, who will be guiding, motivating, and also sharing their views, which will make you feel confident going into the CA exams. Each day of your preparation time is valuable. Therefore, managing your time and efforts is crucial at this juncture. We are confident that all of you are putting in your best efforts to achieve the desired results. The Board of Studies, being the academic wing of the ICI, it has been continuously taking numerous initiatives, and I encourage you to use these academic resources to improvise and also speed up your preparation for the upcoming May 23 exams. Some of the activities which we have done, keeping the exams in mind, additional the MCQs and case scenarios for intermediate tax paper, the final direct tax and international tax paper, as well as the final indirect tax papers have been uploaded. The revisionary test papers for the inter and final students, they have been uploaded as well as sent to the students who are appearing for the first time. We also conducted live coaching classes for May 23 exams. And in case you have any queries or you want any further clarification, you can go through the recorded lectures, which are also available online. Through our branches and the regional councils, we recently conducted 2 series of mock test papers across the country. And I'm happy to share that more than 120 branches and regional council participated in it, giving the students a platform to practice the exams before the exam. The suggested answers for November 2022 exams have also been released and uploaded. BOS for your success, where we had specific counseling sessions, subject-specific counseling sessions to provide the exam-centric tips, which were there for almost 2 weeks in between the 2 mock exams. Subject-specific capsules are already appearing in the CA Student Journal for the last-minute revision. We have the ICI BOS mobile app, which provides all the learning resources and relevant necessary notifications to keep you updated about the latest BOS initiatives and exam-related announcement. Saransh, which is again an endeavor, a last mile referencer, is being released with respect to the accounts paper at intermediate level, the FR at the final level, auditing inter and final, the CMA inter, and the strategic and cost at the final level. In addition, we also conduct the practical assessment tests for students who are undergoing the articleship so that they can regularly assess themselves and also identify their strength and the weak areas. Friends, the flow of today's webinar would be that first we will be listening to our ICI leadership, the respected president and the vice president, and then the vice chairman board of studies, the director board of studies, and myself. We will be deliberating on things to be taken care of while preparing for the exams, some of the typical errors that have been observed in theory and practical papers, and also some paper-wise tips for last-minute preparations. And of course, we would also be trying to answer the questions that you raise to us, and we will be responding to that. So with this, I once again welcome you all to this BOS for your success event. And I would now invite our energetic, vibrant, and enthusiastic Vice President of ICI, CA Ranjit Kumar Agarwalji, to kindly address the students.
Thank you very much, very respected chairman of this very, very important board of studies academic, CA Vishal Doshi ji. Very young, our dynamic leader, very innovative and thought-provoking person of this institute, CA Aniket Talati ji. Vice chairman of this board, Dayanivas Sharma, who happens to be the chairman of this board last year. And Director Board of Studies Academic, Vandana Nagpal ji, and very, very my dear students. Good afternoon to all of you. And I'm very happy that you all have chosen a chartered accountancy course as your career choice. There are 3,500 career choice in this country. And out of that, you have chosen a CA as a career. It's a remarkable, and my compliment to all of you, because you are aware that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is one of the premier accounting body of the world. And being a chartered accountant, the kind of command, the kind of respect, and the kind of exposure you enjoy, it is unparalleled and unprecedented across the country. And that's why we are the only regulatory body of the country which has by legislation, the power to authenticate and certify the financials of this country. And being a chartered accountant, the corporate world, which are having a 7% growth in this country, most of the corporate world are led by none other than our chartered accountant. So in terms of practice and in terms of industry, both our CAs are leading across the world. Before coming to your point of this CA, how to prepare the CA examination, I have 2-3 tips for you also. Before that, to successful any kind of professional examination or to do any professional course, there is a research-based, time-tested, classic guidelines available in this domain that is called 721, 70%, 20%, and 10%. Now, 70% you learn on the job, on the spot, by experiencing the concept, experiencing the profession, experiencing the corporate culture. So in our case, 70% belongs to articleship training. If you are doing a CA course, then 70% time you have to devote on articleship training to know what kind of course it is, to know the exposure and how to abreast with all kind of exposure which you are supposed to apply post-qualification. Then comes to 20%, which is about interacting with your peers, your groups, in conferences, in seminar, in group discussion. By this 20%, you learn what this kind of course and how to qualify as a CA. And 10% only comes as a formal training. The course curriculum you are going for tuition, the formal education, what are you doing in the classroom, this is the only 10%. So 70, 20, and 10%, this is the 721 time-tested model on which any professional course can be passed by anybody. Now, coming to this, your CA examination, if you go through the interview of all the rank holders and those who have qualified CA, their first criteria is that before 3 months of the examination, they are aloof from the social media. The social media account, they are disable, no social media for next 3 months till the examination is over. Even if you are hell-bent to use the social media come what may, then my advice to you, have a 8 WhatsApp group of your 8 subject. Till the examination, whatever discussion you want to have on the social media, have this group discussion on that 8 subject only. Every subject, one WhatsApp group. Whomsoever you want to join the group, join it and discuss only that subject in that group only. No other things if you really want to excel and pass this CA examination. Number 2 is the study mat. It is the Bible, Gita, Quran of our course. Nobody has passed this CA examination without referring the study material. And the Board of Studies and the examination department take care. Nothing comes out in the examination beyond the study mat. Even if something comes beyond the study mat, examination department is there to take care of that part. So the study mat, you are not had the liberty to overlook or not to go through the study mat. And the third and the last point from my side before our president sir speaks. Most of the time we have seen that students know the subject, know the answer, but because of shortage of time, they are not able to complete in 3 hours. Because in our today digitalization, we have stopped writing from pen and pencil. In your articleship, your classroom, everything, you are on the system. So one page writing with your pen and paper every day till the examination will help you to complete your CA paper in 3 hour allotted time. Because with that practice you will develop for one page writing every day will give you the confidence. If you know the answer, it should not be not writing because of the shortage of time. So these are some of the tips, you can say tips or advice, whatever, which we have do in our articleship days, our passing CA examination. That is from my side. My best wishes to all of you. I wish all of you come out with a flying color. And since you are the student of a chartered accountancy, you must be confident that you are going to be a finance professional of this country, which is driving this economy of this country. So if you become that kind of confidence and your vision is clear why you are doing CA, what is your thought process, then nobody can stop you from passing this CA examination. My best wishes from my core of heart to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vice President, sir. In fact, I wish that during my exam days, I would have taken guidance from you. I would have scored much more than what I have actually scored. But sir, some very important things you mentioned, the 721, 721 plan, the disconnect from the social media 3 months. And with your permission, I would like to add that 1 month before the exam, please disconnect from IPL also. Because we never had these things during our exams, but now that is there. So please disconnect. And sir, the summary of what you said is that you have to be full focused on the exam. It's like those blinders that you don't do anything else other than CA. You just keep the CA exams in front. And very important thing you mentioned, sir, about the study material. That is the Bible for the students. And in fact, I know that some of the members also still follow the study material that they had followed during the student days. That is the importance of the study material. Thank you so much, Ranjit sir, for your kind words and motivating words and guidance to the students. I would now request our hardworking, visionary, tech-savvy, inventive, and definitely the student-caring president of ICI, CA Aniket Sunil Kalati to guide and motivate our students. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much to the Honorable Vice President of the Institute, CA Ranjit Kumar Agarwal ji. I think he's spoken from his heart today. He has shared his mantra of success. It may be academic or otherwise. Today as the Vice President, I think you have to plan. And that is the title of this today's session also. You plan and only then you can perform. And how you can plan, I think some wonderful insights Honorable Vice President sir has given to you. I think 721 is truly a unique concept that even for me, I have learned today, and it makes so much sense. And I'm sure all of you who have heard him today will actually implement him and understand the practical importance of articleship. Because any successful chartered accountant that you will meet, he will always first start with where he did his articleship from. If you ask him, where are you from? He will not mention his city. He will not mention the college that he did his bachelor's or master's from. He will say, this is the firm I did my articleship from, because that is the core base of our profession and our chartered accountancy course. So very important thoughts shared by Honorable Vice President, sir, and I'm sure I'm going to use that in my future references also. I think it's a very important way to structure and break down the entire preparation process. Let me begin also by complimenting and congratulating Vishal Doshi ji, the Chairman of Board of Studies, Dayanivas Sharma ji, the Vice Chairman Board of Studies, Vanda Nagpal ji, the Director of Board of Studies, for this wonderful initiative that you are doing in the form of BOS for your success. I think what greater and better, bigger message that the Institute can give, that we are actually interested in your success, and therefore BOS exists to have your success and to make sure that you can succeed in the entire examination process. The title itself showcases very clearly the intention not just of BOS, but I think the entire institute and all members who are there in the council, that we are all interested that you as students pass and prosper. And therefore, these very important sessions are being organized. I compliment the BOS for doing this, and I'm sure today's session is going to help many of the students who are appearing in this examination to successfully clear the May 23 exam. Friends, let me share with you that today, the strength of ICI, if you ask me in terms of our numbers, we are close to 375,000 chartered accountants and almost close to 8 lakh members, students, I'm sorry. So 350,000 to 370,000 membership and 7.5 lakh to 8 lakh, the number keeps varied, it keeps changing and is variable. But in total, if you add it, it is more than 11 lakh chartered accountants and CA pursuing students. If you compare it with anywhere in the world, the only second institution which we can compare ourselves with is probably the US. And the number there is half of that of India. This only shows that out of all the various options available across the world, today, chartered accountancy course strongly remains the profession of choice, the career of choice, and the course curriculum of choice for all commerce students. So do not believe any rumors. Anybody will come and say, even when we were pursuing chartered accountancy, people used to say, oh, this course, that course, do this college, go to this university, and it is going to be a better opportunity. We have in front of you, I would include Vandaji, all 5 of us who are all qualified chartered accountants and have been able to give back to the society whatever we dreamt of, whatever we aimed about. And of course, in terms of the recognition that this course provides, believe me, it is second to none. There is nothing that compares to the professional attitude that the chartered accountancy course gives you. Yes, you may be a graduate, postgraduate in other aspects. You may get placed somewhere. Initially, the salary levels may be different. But in life, as you move forward, it is not just going to be the total CTC or the take-home package which is going to be important. You will very soon realize that the respect that you command in society, the kind of compliments that you will get on clearing this examination, the kind of confidence you will get in calling yourself chartered accountant is, like I said, second to none. So my compliments to you for choosing this course, for continuing on this path, and my sincere best wishes to all of you on clearing this examination. The opportunity today for chartered accountants is truly immense. As has been said by my previous speakers, today, if you look at the campus, we have more job offerings than we have number of students who are or members who are willing to apply for the campus. The international market is such that largest accounts, it may be the US, UK, Australia, Canada, they are all being written and done in India. That is the kind of, I would say, recognition the CA course has got, not just through the MOUs and MRAs, the 16 of them that we have at the institute after you qualify to become members of foreign accounting bodies, but sheer and only on the basis of your this qualification, you have huge international potential and the opportunity in front of you is amazing. So my first and foremost request to all of you will be, don't believe whatever rumors people may want to spread. Ever since I was doing chartered accountancy and I was recently looking to my registration, and this has almost been, like Vishalji mentioned, 20-25 years since we registered for this course. and we started, even at that time, people used to say the profession is at crossroads, there are challenges. 25 years later, and even 25 years hence, the story is going to be same. People will keep mentioning the same things. But believe me, the profession is not at a crossroads. We are skyrocketing. It's on a takeoff mode, and the opportunities are immense. So be confident about yourself, and only look at you clearing the examination. And in July, when we give out the results, be confident that you are going to open the website and see that you have cleared your intermediate and final and made that next level of progression in your aim and dream of becoming a chartered accountant. Because in the examination process, when only 2 weeks are left for your papers, I think the most important aspect is the attitude. You may have read, you may have prepared. And if you have not done, I think only very few people will be able to complete the course in 15 days. So I will not give you advice on how to learn and prepare, because I'm sure you have done the academic aspect of the examination in the previous few months. I think these 2 weeks, and more importantly, the exam days, are about having the right kind of attitude. Be positive. Always think that, yes, I am going to clear, and be away from all the negativity that can surround you. Don't listen to it. Shut yourself out of it. And please stay away from such people who bring negativity in your thought process. Be clear that this is the goal that I want to achieve. And believe me, nothing in this world can stop you from achieving it. So therefore, have the positive attitude. Use all the resources that the Board of Studies has given you. And very rightly mentioned, I was listening to the Honorable Chairman when he started, and he said, he spoke about Saransh, he spoke about the live virtual classes, he spoke about 2 mock tests. All of us here are chartered accountants who are addressing you. And believe me, none of us, absolutely none of us, I may be the youngest and qualified the latest, had any of these resources available when we qualified as chartered accountant. There were no mock tests, there was no BOS app, there was no Saransh, there was no BOS for your success, there were no live virtual classes. Look at the amount of infrastructure, the intent, and more importantly, the resources BOS is putting out there for you to qualify. I think it is the best time for you to appear in the CA examination. The best resources are available, and the positivity, the attitude of the entire institute in ensuring your success is a testament to this fact. So be confident about this, about yourself, have the right attitude, use the BOS resources which are available for last minute preparation, for revision, for ensuring that you have a clear understanding of the course. And as very rightly mentioned by Honorable Vice President, sir, I remember when I used to appear for the exam, we were not privileged to have flat screen TVs. We used to have those big televisions. And the floor that I used to study, I used to make sure that I would lift the television. It used to be a square box. I'm explaining it because many in the new generation would never have seen those televisions, which are square boxes. We used to lift them, and I used to put it outside. We did not have, of course, the pleasure of any social media or any WhatsApp at that time. But my request to you would be, shut yourself off of any Facebook, Twitter, all other forms of social media that exists. Television, IPL, all of it can wait. It is your time to prepare. Be updated with the institute website, because there, if there is any change which is happening in the examination, for example, in Karnataka, on the day the election commission announced that there is going to be exam on this date, the very next day the exam committee met and we were able to change the centers. So stay updated with the ICI portal, stay updated with the BOS portal, but everything else in life, social media, cricket, movies, concerts, gatherings, night outs can all wait. Please put in your best in the next 15 days. We are all here to ensure your success. And what greater testament on a Sunday morning that the Honorable Vice President, myself, the Chairman, Vice Chairman, the Director, Board of Studies are all here to answer your questions. Don't have any inhibitions about the course. Don't think that the institute or the exam committee is there to fail you. We are in fact there to make sure that as many as chartered accountants, good quality chartered accountants that India can get, that institute can get, it is only going to benefit our nation, our economy. And therefore, our interest is in your interest. And when there is such a wonderful alignment of interest happening and such wonderful resources available, have the right attitude. And I am sure all of you who are attending this seminar virtually will definitely be clearing the examination. Those in final will proudly be calling yourselves chartered accountants in July, and later will be convocating through the institute. And for others who are appearing in the intermediate, like the Honorable Vice President said, very important decision that you have to take is of becoming a chartered accountant is to have practical exposure. Make sure you do your articleship in the right earnest, have the best practical exposure, try and gain whatever best expertise you can during those 3 years. And I'm sure success will knock on your door. The best life is in front of you. My best and sincere wishes to each one of you. Finally, pray to God, pray to Almighty, because as we all know, have appeared in the examination, you need divine intervention for any great thing to happen in your life. So keep believing, be positive. My best wishes to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, President, sir. In fact, that was really motivating. You mentioned about the opportunities for chartered accountants, not just in India, across the globe. And in fact, I would use this opportunity that our Vice President is from the East and President is from the West. And we have the saying, East or West, the chartered accountancy is the best. And I would say not just here, but worldwide, it is CAs who are the best. And sir, you also mentioned about the attitude and the confidence that a student should have stepping into the exam hall, and that would make a lot of difference. Thank you once again, sir, for your motivating words. And I would now request Vice Chairman, Board of Studies, Dayanivas Sharma ji, to give his closing remarks and propose a hearty vote of thanks to the leadership.
Thank you very much, Chairman Vishal Doshi ji. It's indeed like, I'm getting motivated listening to these two gentlemen, and I was just thinking, and a quote came in my mind, which I'm going to share. But dear students, and I'll share. President sir, thank you very much for making it possible to come on a Sunday, share your thoughts, motivate the students, and ensure that, that the thought process which we have gone through is not different. We all live the same life which the students are living today. It's not different. It's actually the same. And equally, the Vice President, Ranjit sir, thank you very much for making people understand that 70-20-10 is actually the fundamental pillar on which this course has been defined. And 70%, yes, it is practical training, which is the basis of this. In between, people have drifted towards, a learning mechanism which has been followed differently. But I think you also have put forward all the things so fantastically that, it gives a very simple message, which I'm going to complete with a quote. And then by Chairman, he's actually done his part from the point of view, like, what all we have contributed, which gives you both confidence that, we all council members, we, struggle to ensure that we give the best every time. And I'm not using struggle in the negative sense. I'm putting it, we want to put our best to ensure that the students go in the right direction. President sir, there is a saying, grind while they rest, study when they party, you will live like they dream. Right? So when people dream to pass, people dream to do so many things, but only thing which they keep a gap is what you both spoke with regards to the 3 months of time. If you are keeping it aside and giving it to yourself for your future, I think there cannot be a better, suggestion which is there. In this 15 days, which is left out 15 days, trust me, the confidence goes down, doesn't go up. That, whether I missed out something, and we are going to deliberate a lot in today's session. But both of you, the way you have put your heart out, I think has given us that confidence that, we are thinking in the right direction. And the leadership, which is actually giving these suggestions, means that we want success from our students, is a message which is there. Other side, Vandana ji, you and your team has been doing a fantabulous job for developing the study material, the online classes and everything. Sir, in total, it's not a thank you, a vote of thanks or might be concluding anything. It's basically we would like to just reassure that we'll continue doing this in times to come, and much more is going to be available for the students in time to come. And the most important part undoubtedly is all of us have gone through the same life. It is not different. This 15 days, you, me, President, Vice President, everyone has actually gone through that in totality, and we have gone through a butterflies flying in the stomach. That is a word which has been, that is a statement which has been used, is been there. So, sir, thank you very much for making, to come on a Sunday morning. And this is the commitment which we want to show it to our students also. And the most important part is, in this 15 days, if we are able to add one minute and get that thought right with our students, these all students are going to perform superbly fantastic. Our intention doing this 15 days before the exam is only and only to say that, we are with you. Do your best. Just remember one thing. You have come into this course, right? The students have come into this course with one dream in their eyes. Let it not go down. 15 days are sufficient for you to, do a 360-degree learning and be ready for the examination. So that is the intention. So thank you, both of you, for making it on a Sunday, 15 days before the exam, and giving that confidence that we are interested in their success, and exam committee is interested in their success. Board of Studies is interested in their success. The entire council is interested in their success. The most important part is India is waiting for new breed of chartered accountants. That's an actual fact. Thank you, President, sir. Thank you, Vice President, sir, for coming in and giving your valuable time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, President.
Sir.
Thank you, Vice President. Sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Dear students, so you had listened to our Honorable President, our Honorable Vice President, our Honorable Chairman, and Honorable Vice Chairman, and they have given you broadly the tips you need to follow while preparing for your exams. And students, you know very well that not much time is left before the exams are going to commence. So you really have to gear up, and the BOS is there with you, with the chairman and the vice chairman, to guide you as to how you can improve upon yourself and how you can plan for these particular 15 days and how you really need to gear up during the exam time. So I'll be now, the way we'll be going ahead now will be our chairman will be letting you know about the commonly occurring mistakes, errors, which are done by the students while they are writing the exams. So he's going to talk to you about that. Thereafter, I'll invite our Honorable Vice Chairman. He will let you know and give you tips for how to write and how to prepare for the theory papers. And thereafter, our Honorable Chairman will guide you as to how you really need to plan and prepare for your practical papers. Because it's very crucial. You need to really know that how really you need to write in the theory and in the practical papers. So they'll be letting you know about it. And thereafter, we'll be inviting questions from you, which will be addressed by our chairman and vice chairman. And students, I must tell you, by this time, we have got number of hundreds of questions have been received from you. And we are going to pick out actually the questions which are being asked. They are actually of similar nature. So we are going to concentrate on the questions which are different and which are going to be very useful for you, right? So students, now I'm going to invite our Honorable Chairman to really guide you as to how to overcome the errors which are usually committed by the students during the exam time when they're writing the papers. So over to you, sir. So kindly guide the students. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Well, students, after a very, very motivating opening session, we will now deliberate on, so my role presently is to convey some of the typical errors that are committed by students in the practical oriented subjects. So theory, Vice Chairman sir would take up. I am taking up the practical oriented subjects. So the first is about the lack of in-depth study. What has been observed is many times students, they are adopting a very selective study sort of a methodology, that we do some research of the past papers and that this might not come, this may come, or something which is difficult, they leave out that I'll do this later. And then, as the words go that tomorrow never comes. And then finally, there is so much of pressure that they feel that this is tough. इसको we'll leave this, इसको अभी छोड़ देते हैं, sort of a thing. So what is important is that we need to have a comprehensive study which covers the entire syllabus and not to be or not overlooking any subjects or any topics within the subjects or adopting any selective study. So that is the first thing. Second is the theoretical portion in the practical subjects. As you are aware that there are some marks in each of the papers which are given for the theory portion in the practical subjects also. So in practical papers, students, they do not focus on the theoretical understanding of the topics, and theory questions are generally skipped at the time of preparation. We also need to understand that some of the theory also help in solving the practical problems. So just because you see 2-3 pages of theory does not necessarily mean that that is pure theory and has no relevance to the practical content also. So theory content in practical papers is another area which has been observed that students are a bit soft on the theory portion in the practical papers. The next thing, and which the Vice President sir also mentioned, is about lacking the writing practice. So what has been observed many times, when we interact with students, as you are aware, we do a lot of outreach and we keep interacting. And even in my office, there are so many students. So many times what has been observed that when students are studying on the practical papers, what they do is they read the question, they pick up a calculator, they solve on the calculator, and then they match the final result with the result that is there maybe in the study material. And they see that if the answer is matching, they feel, okay, I know this. They do not write the whole answer when they are practicing. So practical or numerical questions, they require written practice without referring to the solution. Like I said, students, they solve practical questions orally on the calculator. And by doing this, they are not doing these stepwise, applying their mind fully. They are endorsing somewhat the solutions that has been given in the material. And it is because many times we've seen that students, they miss out on the stepwise marking. The final answer might be correct, but then they miss out on the steps, because when you're doing on a calculator, you're doing a 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally you come at 4. And when you're writing, you might miss the earlier steps to write, and that might cost a few marks. So writing is equally important when it comes to the practical papers. Knowledge of the formats, and especially in the accounts paper. Formats, they play an important role when it comes to the presentation of the financial statements. And what has been observed that students, they solve the questions correctly, but they do not prepare as per the applicable formats, and because of which the students lose out on a few marks. The next point I would mention is about improper understanding of the questions. And what happens, especially that, let us say like the question, it requires to explain the treatment of a transaction. And we are talking of the practical paper. So the question is about to explain the treatment of the transactions, and what the student, they do, they calculate the amount and the answer without, reasoning out or substantiating with the relevant provisions of the accounting standards or with respect to the presentation of the financial statements. So when it is required, the question requires to explain, that means it is sort of a theory. So you should not just calculate and leave it, but also understanding the question and writing as per the expectation. So your calculation may be correct, but still you will score less marks because you have not answered the question in totality as was asked. Another point was about improper time allocation for the questions. The students many times give a very, very long answer, sometimes even irrelevant details, they creep in the answer for a small question. And friends, that is where I was mentioning the mock tests. These are where actually the students, it helps them to how to time their whole 100 marks paper in that given time frame of 3 hours or maybe 2 hours, 45 minutes. You want to keep 15 minutes for a revision or going through the paper, whatever is your methodology, but that becomes important. And spending unnecessary time on a question, what happens is that you will not be given more marks if you write more, but what would be happening is that you would be actually sacrificing some other answer because you don't have sufficient time. So this also is important, that you give proper time allocation for each of the questions. Wrong mentioning of the question number. See, this is something which I would say is a very much an avoidable, or I would say a silly mistake, that students are attempting parts of questions at different places. They do not write the correct question number and its subpart. And then what happens that while checking the answer book, even though answer is correct, maybe appropriate marks may not be awarded. Presentation on the working notes. Working notes, when we talk of practical papers, they form part of the solution and they do carry marks. But what was been found is that students, they directly, like I mentioned earlier also, they directly calculate the amounts and the calculator, write it as part of the main answer. The answer is correct, but they do not give the working notes. And working notes, like I mentioned, they do carry marks, and therefore students lose out on the marks when they do not give the working notes. Calculation mistakes. There are a lot of computations, or there are errors that are done as part of the calculation mistakes. This should be avoided because that definitely has an impact on the scoring. So your concepts might be clear, your knowledge is clear, but many times calculation mistakes occur, and that has the impact on your overall scoring. Wrong figures are copied from one part of the answer to the other part. Like what happens is sometimes these are unconscious, but then these are, I would say, identified errors where students do lose marks. So what happens is that you have arrived at a correct calculation, but then when you are copying that in the answer, maybe from the calculator to the answer sheet, or maybe from one portion of the answer to another portion of the answer, the digits gets interchanged, or a wrong amount is taken. So let us say in an accounts paper, you have drawn a ledger where there are 4 or 5 amounts. And maybe instead of a closing balance, you have picked up an amount just above that when you are carrying forward to the balance sheet. So these type of errors, they do happen, which we should take care not to have them. Carry forward of amounts from one page to the other, that is also has been observed, which should be avoided. At many places, assumptions are required to be mentioned in the solution, since that is the base on which your solution is derived. What happens is that students, they overlook this, and though they solve the question by taking an assumption, but they fail to write or mention the same, that this solution has been arrived by taking this particular assumption. And then what happens is that there are chances that students might lose out on the marks. And lastly, I would mention is the naming of the relevant accounting standard or the Ind AS. What happens is students, they mention the wrong AS name and number or the para numbers in their solution. Friends, in this case, I would advise that if you're not sure, then you should avoid mentioning the standard number or the para number, because it gives a wrong impression to the examiner. And wrong quoting of AS or Ind AS, they may lead to a deduction of marks. So you can avoid if you're not sure about the AS or Ind AS number or the para numbers. So these are some of the typical errors which have been observed or have been committed by students in the practical oriented subjects, which I thought would be relevant and useful to all of you in the exam. So please take care about these points that I have mentioned. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for guiding the students as to how really to overcome the errors which are usually committed by them, so that they do not repeat them in the exams, and be very confident and come out with the correct answers. And you have also guided them as to about the tips for the practical papers also. So thanks a lot. I hope sir, students would be really listening to all of you very, very carefully, because this is the time. And sir, one in between, I was just going through the questions. The students, I do not know whether I should have, but I'm just quoting this question. I think you can answer also. Before I go to Vice Chairman sir also, students are saying hardly 15 days are left and we are doing this session. What is the need to do it at this time? So I think, sir, please address this question. It's very pertinent.
Yeah, sure. So since in the initial remarks I mentioned about IPL, I would today also then give the answer by referring to IPL. So what happens is the Rohit Sharmas and the Virat Kohlis and the Rahuls and everybody, they do practice on a daily basis, right? But before the match, all of you must be aware that they enter the stadium maybe 1 hour, 2 hours just before the match. They do a warm up, they do a practice session just before the match. So I feel that having this session over here is that you all have been practicing on a daily basis in the last 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever it might be. And we think that this is the final practice just before the match, the warm up session 15 days before, so that you have, if there is any last minute course correction that is required or last minute focus that is required, I feel this is what is the BOS for your success. And like we have said, that you have to, you plan, you prepare, and finally what you are required to do is perform. This is how I would respond to it.
Vice Chairman, sir, would you like to add something from your side?
No. The student who's been there, I don't know. I thank him for asking that question, because it makes our life simple. Last time we have done it a month before, and this time we are doing 15 days before. So with this session, the only thing which I can tell you is, after what the chairman spoke, is, ask any question. Let's kill the myths. People have multiple myths in their mind about multiple thoughts. People, just share some people. There are, some trainers who have been talking that, nothing will happen, this will be there, that will be there. Don't worry about anything. Have confidence in yourself. And that is the reason we are with you today here. We have to kill the myths, and we have to ensure that whatever effort, whatever planning you have done, whatever preparations you have done, it is not going to go waste. Trust us. Now it is time to only perform. That's it. Nothing more than this, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you to both of you to guiding them and posing. And I thank the student who has posed this question. I think because there are other set of students, they're saying how to plan in these 15 days. So there are two sides to everything. One will say the glass is half full, other will say glass is half empty. So it's how the perception is. And the BOS is here, the chairman and vice chairman are here to clear all your perceptions, to clear your doubts. I think the last, this is the time when both of you with your experience can guide them as to how really to have their doubts cleared and how to have a clear mind. And clear mind is always going to make kind of the road very, very clear, rather very, say, lightened up to need to see it. So there is always a positive as well as a negative side. It depends on how you really want to see it. So students, so be positive, like a chairman and vice chairman has said, that you should be very positive, very clear in your approach, because this is the road to success. Thank you, sir. Now I'll request our Honorable Vice Chairman to guide the students as to how really to deal with theory papers. I think, sir, with both of you also, I think some students have a knack for practical papers and some are very good in theory. I personally tell you, sir, I'm very good in theory. I can write theory very well because I know how really to articulate, and that is an art. And I said, seeing both of you, I know both of you are very good in theory, because the way you explain it to us, the way you guide it to us, I think it's the way you will guide to them as to how to really deal with the theory papers also. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, madam. I think, when the chairman spoke about the practical paper, most of them are going to be common. One thing which I would like to tell all dear students, I'll go back to my time when I did my final examination. Madam, this is to be noted. Only 19 days of preparation before examination, only 19 days before the examination, I started my preparation because I failed in the previous exam, unfortunately. So my knowledge was there, but the point which I would like to tell is that 19 days actually has given me a different kind of thought process for preparation. Now, the most important part which we all have to understand, the students have to understand, the universe of our question is only and only going to come from study material. Please keep it in mind. There cannot be a question which is going to come out of the study material. This is the reality. Am I right, Chairman? Whether it is practical, whether it is theory, both are only going to restrict till study material. Now, the universe means very simple, that number of chapters in every subject which is defined in my study material. So let us put our thoughts clear. So this was my learning also. When I wrote in that 19 days examination, my total was 456. Both groups cleared, only 2 papers less than 50, which was 49, 49. That's all. And my chairman is more knowledgeable than me, I know for a fact. He got much more marks than me for the students. But that getting 400 magical number itself is more important for us. We should not deviate from there. That's one point which I would like to tell each of my students. Don't think it is 15 days left. It is the best 15 days which is left for you to perform. Right? Now, that is one part. That means first I define my universe. I understand what my universe is all about. Now, number 2 is basically the comprehensive study which we do, or a summarized study. Both I'll talk about. In detail, then summary. I'll put it together. In the previous attempt when I wrote my examination, I always complained saying that, time is not sufficient. But it is not that fact. The fact is rightly said by chairman again. When you are doing problems, you are doing on calculator. When you are doing theory, it is more worst. Actually, what you do is you think you are memorizing the thing and you remember everything. It is not possible. You will remember things partially, not that 70, 20, 10. No, I'll say 70% you will remember right. 20% you will struggle to write. But the 10% is the crux. That means the core sections or the core provisions, the core words, the core statements are those 10% which you actually miss out. Now, whatever you have performed, did a revision for or studied for, what you need to do is first and the foremost thing in mind very clearly, if this chapter is come in the last attempt, previous attempt, previous to previous attempt, this will not come. Boss, please understand when I'm telling that the universe is such, 100 marks is defined, then what is there left out? That much only is left out. So might be the institute will ask you a question which is of 16 marks, 12 marks, 8 marks, 4 marks, 2 marks, 1 mark, again back to 8 marks, right? So you do not know. See, when the examinations are being conducted, when we do an analysis, we also sometimes feel that the score on this particular chapter has been low. We have to enhance. So might be a repeat question might come from there. So you do not know. And I have gone through that suffering when my father told one fact that don't leave any chapter. So the point which I am trying to tell you is don't leave any chapter. If not 8, it will be 4 marks. If not 4 marks, it will be 8 marks. So don't go for leaving chapters. The universe is very small. Analyze, think, get it. Don't think about 8 subjects together. Think about the subject which you are studying. Point number 1. Number 2, what is important is in most of the cases, people ignore Bare Act. Bare Act, generally what you should do is only for the flow of, at this point in time, if you have left it, I don't want you to go back and open the Bare Act. But what you need to understand is what is the flow of sections which you need to make. Means a defined flow chart is there because laws are not written here, there, and here and there. It's basically a flow of information which is there that will give you confidence that this flow of information is rightly being done. A subject which is there without any act, that also, like example, costing theory is there, accounts theory is there, and multiple other topics are there, subjects are there where the theory is there. Now, other part, you have gone through the theory part. What I request you people is, rather than studying from page 1 to page 10, what you do, example, you take directors. Now in directors, start scribbling on your piece of paper that what is there from the beginning, appointment, qualification to the completion of a term. That entire thing you need to write it in a very simple manner. And what is score? Like example, board meetings or any other audit committee or might be independent directors requirement, this, that, you tell anything. there is a specific more than, less than, equal to. Those provisions are something which we actually miss out. So what will happen is, during these 15 days, just take out 20, 30 minutes, not more than that. Whatever you have studied, just start scribbling in a brief note on a piece of paper, wherever you get a piece of paper, newspaper, anything, start writing. Sometime what you should do is start talking to your parents. They might not understand what corporate law is. They don't understand what income tax is, what GST is. But the point is, when you start talking to them in general terms, right, you will understand that, these are the places where you have left. So theory paper, just tell you one thing. We don't want thesis to be written from a chartered accountant student. What we want is to the point, answered. You will not believe. I'll give you my example. When I wrote, indirect tax paper, I could not complete the full set of one booklet, and I got 68. How do I get 68? I wrote very specific what was being asked. Now that raises one more point. What is that point? Whether I understood the question right. What happened is, advantages into something else into something else. So first sit down and understand what is the question being asked. Sometimes the question are asked in a negative form. Sometimes questions are asked in positive form. You need to understand what is negative and what is positive, right? So please read that question effectively. What has happened in past, I'll tell you a couple of students, they start writing the answer and then they strike it off. Why do they do that? Because they think that earlier they thought was right, and then by cutting that, they waste the time and energy, and then they start writing the answer again. That means the energy is gone waste in the process. So just for a moment, you are lucky. During our time, during our chairman, president, vice president, madam, you also know it. We never had one-day exam leave. We never had 15 minutes before surplus time given to read a question paper. Our 3 hours means including reading the question paper and writing the entire answer. So please, you have got that benefit. Don't get into excitement. Don't get into worry. When you peacefully think about reading the question, you might have read an answer only once, but you don't know the power of your brain. Just relax. You will get back so many points which you can comfortably write, which makes sense. Don't write unnecessary things in paper. See, if you are intelligent to write unnecessary things in your answer sheet, the examiner is furthermore intelligent, because the examiner is being made as an examiner by writing examination and scoring 70% marks. That means he is intelligent enough to understand your answer. So be precise in writing your answer. Don't write unnecessary things which is deviating. One more thing which I request you all, you don't prepare in the examination condition. You take any one paper, even today, tomorrow, in just shortest time, whichever one theory paper you take. What you do is close your doors for 3 hours. Understand how you are writing that paper. Trust me, that learning of making a mistake will give you confidence. It is not, don't get demotivated. You get confidence saying that, oh, this would have been wrong in my examination process. Let me learn. Very good. Thank you, BOS, for making it possible, for making us understand that we are making a mistake. It's worth rectifying, as rightly said by the chairman. The cricket team, the best players actually go one day before on the ground to see what the pitch is all about. Where do I hit? If I want to hit a shot, what it can be. So this is a pitch preparation which you need to prepare on, and think in an ability that, okay, this mistake would have been in examination. Let me rectify now itself. Don't get demotivated. Again, I am telling you, nothing is wrong, boss. 3 hours will save one attempt. Remember this. We have done mock test. People have participated in huge numbers. Some people have not done it. That is their choice. But at least now, do it. Madam, you will be surprised to know, in certain theory papers where we have to write 100 marks paper, where I could not attempt 80 marks also. In my last attempt, I attempted for 120 marks. Just imagine, only by writing it right. and writing it to the level it is required. But for you students, don't do that attempt because there is a different marking system now. Now, the point which I am trying to drive is, when you are planning, sit down, take your paper, take your past examination paper, start scribbling down, whether it is in summary, whether it is in detail, what do you want to write in the 3 hours, demonstrate, play as if you are going to, you are writing examination. Automatically during examination, you will get the success. Now, lack of putting it in a sequence. Somewhere students, what they do, they jumble the entire answer. They know the answer, there's no doubt. But what they put is, they put it in different, because of that anxiety. That anxiety, you need to kill it and put it in a sequence. That is nothing but the specie writing, which I'm talking about, will give you that capacity or capability to do it. And most importantly, see, in all answer sheets, when you write answers, in practical training, there is step-by-step marks. But in case of theory, there are certain statements, there are certain words which carry certain weightage, and it has to be in context. It cannot be lying in the air, right, madam? बहुत बार ऐसा होता है, वो बोलता है कि मैं ये word तो लिखा ना सर. अरे word लिखने से कुछ नहीं होता है. You have to write it in the context, because the examiner is a chartered accountant who's valuing your paper. Please understand. Most of the time when people take the answer sheet, they come back to us and ask the BOS, I have written this. But the fact is, this is not the context. The context is gone out. Only by writing a word or a statement, you will not get marks. You need to go in a particular flow. Then only you will get marks. So these are a couple of things which I thought, I should share from the theory point of view. And believe me, first, remember one thing, the universe of your question is only and only study material. Number 2, visualize subject-wise what you want to do, how the flow of knowledge is going to be. Number 3, write in a precise manner which gives you a confidence that you are not missing out on the critical points. Number 4 is primarily writing in a particular context and a flow of information. As again I am telling you, the examiners today, believe me, the kind of process of examination is there. It is transformed to a total different level. Living in a myth that I have done everything good. No, do good in a right context is something which you need to look at. So theory papers, as you rightly said, madam, all of us have done very good only because we understood the subject in a flow. You cannot learn subject in isolations, right? It is not a story book or something, whichever chapter I want to start with, or it is not an OTT platform. I'll start from session 3 and session 4 or something. Please and please understand one thing, dear students, you have done your best. Theory reading you have already completed. If you have not completed also, you have a common sense and a knowledge which you can actually put it in the right context. 15 days are sufficient for you to do it. Please take it from us. If you follow study material, that's more than enough for your examination. Right, madam?
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. I hope students would have now understood how to deal with practical as well as theory papers. And if you follow a right approach, like advised by a chairman and vice chairman, and you read the question carefully, write the question in a right flow. The question should be answer should be written in a right flow. Something which, like, you can never start with the conclusion. You have to start with the background. Then only ultimately you will read to the conclusion, and in between your reasoning has to come. So all those things should be rightly worded in the right flow, like advised by a vice chairman and chairman. And I think, sir, this is the way they really need to do it. And these are certain very crucial tips which they need to follow. I think that will really make their life also very comfortable. And sir, one thing I also just want to add to what both of you have said is that students, the advice from the BOS is, don't read the papers at the intermediate level and at the final level in xylose. Just the papers, once you have read financial reporting, that you have to have it in mind while doing your auditing paper. Because in your auditing paper, you need to know what is the right way to report. Where there is a qualification, where there is a disclaimer, all that has to be taken care of. Like in the case of tax audit, different clauses are there. So if you have read the provisions of tax very well, you'll be able to answer the same in the auditing papers. So similarly, all the papers you need to rather combine them, understand them in totality, because that is really going to make you as a complete and a good, rather best professional also, when you will really, you will complete your CA qualification. Sir, one thing more, sir, would you like to add now for the 15 days time? We feel you want to add, or you have already covered how really to gear up for these 15 days? Would you like to add something more to what you have said, or shall we go ahead now, sir?
I think we can go ahead, madam, because there are a couple of questions which you have shared,
Right,
which has
many questions are there. So we'll start with the questions. So the first question, I'm posing it to our vice chairman. It's about a student is asking, she's a student of intermediate. She's saying, she's asking about the pattern of answering the questions, especially in theory exams, about handling the questions that comes in a different way.
See, let us understand one thing. For all the inter students, let us put it in a very simple and, you please understand, intermediate examination is not expert knowledge. First and the foremost, it's going to be straight question in most of the cases. Am I right, madam? So, right? So the point is, for an intermediate examinee, the point is very simple. I need to remember the provision and I need to write the answer according to that particular question. So what is it going to ask differently, and how much is there in the ask to differently? If you talk about all the 8 papers, not all the 8 papers will have questions differently. Might be corporate law or auditing in professional ethics is going to be only 2 things, which will be based on case scenario kind of thing. So for a student in intermediate is not going to go in a different direction. Don't put your strain into it. It is going to be more of a straight jacket question which will come to you, apart from those which are case study based. That's all. Don't think much. If chairman has some other point to add, surely he can, or madam, if you think it is, how that examiner intermediate expectation is, I think intermediate expectation is only straight jacket questions.
Right. It's the working knowledge.
Working knowledge.
Yes, that's it. Right, sir. Sir, I'll go to the next question. Sir, Chairman said it is for you to reply, sir. How to plan timetable one day before the exam, sir?
He's expert in that.
That is what, sir, I know, sir will really give the right tips, sir.
No, thanks. I think that's a very good question, and unfortunately, we've not been able to practice that. Like Vice Chairman Sir had mentioned, when we used to give exam, it was back-to-back days, no preparatory day in between. But nonetheless, maybe that experience or what we used to do at that point in time might help. So, because yes, I would say now the Board of Studies has been coming out. One is with the subject-wise, topic-wise capsules. So that becomes something which is very important for a last-minute study. But my only request is that the capsules cannot be opened for the first time a day before the exam. Right? You have to start referring to the capsules from now onwards itself, so that what happens is that you are prepared. Second thing, I'll share what I used to do during my exam time is that I used to have those 5-colored highlighter pens, and depending on the importance in the study material of the heading, the subheading, the key words within a particular paragraph, I used to highlight them with different colors, and that would have a legend that this is the most important. Therefore, I need to remember this. I need to know this. These are the key words. These are the key aspects. Or in practical paper also, there were some workings or some calculations which would be extremely important, which should not be missed out by any chance. So that used to get highlighted. So like, you have, when we study, we have the ABC analysis that we do. Similarly, in the study material, in fact, I don't have that. Otherwise, I would have displayed that it would be of full colors. My whole study material would be colorful. Now, in fact, the Board of Studies itself gives colorful material, but at that time we didn't have. But what I'm trying to say is that one day or that 24 hours, one full day, in fact, you get more time. So maybe 36 hours before a particular paper, what you need to do is what you have to study at that point in time, you have to start preparing from today. It's not that at that point in time, you suddenly start flipping through pages that this is what I need to read, this is what I can overlook, or this is what I remember. So even if you remember, there are some points which you still need to revise at the last minute. So this is how I would say that the last day preparation should be from today and not kept till the last day. You have to build up on that. This is how I would like to advise the students. And one thing important is that I would also like to say, madam, like you said about these 15 days, and which I've always maintained, is the quality versus quantity. This is something which wherever I interact with students, I always bring this up. It is not the number of hours that you study, right? Not the quantity that I studied for 14 hours a day, I study for 16 hours a day, I study for maybe 22 hours a day. I don't believe in those numbers. It is in those 14 hours, what is the qualitative time that you study, what is the qualitative time that you remember what you have studied, that is equal to the time that is the effective study, which I would like to share. And these 15 days before the exam and the 2 weeks of the exam, let us approx, this 1 month starting from now is the most appropriate time to review the effectiveness of your study. Right? So don't just sit with books and start thinking about what happened yesterday or what is going to happen tomorrow. I would say live in the present, focus on what you are studying, whatever you are writing, whatever you are practicing, live in today and make the optimum, take the optimum output from the time that you are utilizing, you are investing in your studies. I think this is something which is going to be extremely, extremely important in the next 30 days till your examinations end. Anything, Dayabai, you would like to add to this?
Yeah, I think you are very, very rightly put. I personally feel, the students have to listen to these discussions again and again, or might be once or twice more, to take this, tips which are very practical. And even if you tell your parents to listen to this, they'll guide you what need to be done.
Sir?
Yes, madam.
Sir, thank you. Sir, this question has not been asked by anybody, but this is the question from my side to the chairman and vice chairman, sir. I think, sir, this is what I felt that I think this is one question which I need to pose because it's very important for students. Sir, what we feel is students lack in concentration. And these 15 days time, I think their mind goes in different direction. There are a lot of hiccups in their mind and a lot of distractions which come in the way, like the parents are advising, seniors are advising, their own peer pressures are there. So their concentration at times they lose. So, sir, I want to put this question to both of you. How to improve, what they should do to improve on their concentration? I think, sir, that's very important.
First, I understand that is a challenge, and madam, I would say that's not only for students. Even for, if I talk of myself, for me also, today also, if you ask me, many times it becomes difficult to concentrate on whatever work I am doing. And let me tell you, friends, how I have tackled that as a situation, and I believe Dayabai and madam both would agree on that. That what I do is, first of all, how I look at it is first to analyze my strengths and weaknesses. What I have observed is there are times when I can remain fully focused when there are no disturbances, there are no distractions or any such thing. Like if I talk for myself, whenever I want to focus on something, 100%, for me it's early morning. My family is sleeping. There is no pollution or noise pollution. There's nothing happening around. I'm fresh in the mind with a good night sleep. And then in the morning, I get up, freshen up, and then with full focus, I start and concentrate on whatever I'm supposed to do as part of the agenda that I have taken up. So what I would look at it is, one thing is that first you have to focus, or I would say you have to build up on your strengths and your weakness and try to overcome the weakness if it is possible. Otherwise, you focus on your strengths. This is how I would say. Second thing, what I would look is that you have a daily target, right? That for these are the subject, this subject I'm going to do tomorrow, of which 5 chapters, 10 chapters I'm going to study, or like Vice Chairman Sir also mentioned, that you start attempting the last year or the earlier terms question paper, 3 hours, sit in the room, answer them as if it is an examination that is happening, take 15 minutes before to plan out which questions you are going to attempt and what choice. In fact, ma'am, when you shared, I saw one of the questions also, that how do you time yourself? I would say that against each question that you shortlist in this 15 minutes, you should also write the time that you are going to spend while writing or attempting that answer, right? Because what I've seen many times is if a student is very, very comfortable with the answer that he or she knows, the student keeps writing pages and pages for half an hour, 45 minutes. It might be a 10-mark question, and then suddenly gets the panic situation comes, because a lot of time, the time of 2 answers has actually been spent in 1 answer, because the student knows that answer very, very well and gets carried away in answering and trying to get the maximum from that particular answer. So those 15 minutes become very important for you. You shortlist the questions that you are going to attempt, and also against that write the tentative minutes that you have to spend for answering them. So coming back to the original question, what I meant was that you have to have your daily targets set, and by the end of the day, you have to review. You have to review regularly, right? So like we have a long-term goal, and then it is broken into short-term goals, and then we have to review at regular intervals. That is what everybody in this world does. So similarly for you also, I would say now, since we are in the last leg, I would not say 15 days can be a long-term goal. If you ask me, a daily target becomes a long-term goal, which is broken up into maybe an hourly target or maybe a 2-hour target, that in the total by end of the day, 10 hours, 15 hours. Like I said, I'm not into the number of hours, but these are the chapters that I'm going to complete. These are the suggested answers. Maybe I'm going to attempt for 2 of the question papers of the suggested 3 hours I'll spend on that. I'll review them. I'll again check where I'm going wrong, and also whatever you're planning, and then break them up into shorter targets of 2 hours each, that in 2 hours again review whether you are on the right track to achieve that target that you have set for the day. So broadly, I would say that go in a very, very planned manner, and then whatever are the external forces, be it your parents, be it your guides, be it your, I would say, office people, your friends who are also appearing for CA exams, at least if you remain focused, you are on the track, I feel that you will definitely at the end of the day feel confident with whatever you have done. This is about how I would respond to it. Over to you, Vice Chairman, sir.
I think, Chairman, sir, you have put forward all those thoughts in a very clear step-by-step manner. And this 15 days is something which you need to, it's not a test match now. It's a 2020, in 2020 also the last over, right? So that is the maximum what you can do. And the only thing which I would like to tell students additionally is confidence is something which you need to hold. If by chance you have not read something, read it. You will remember with your fear, you will remember. Your fear, you will remember. Don't leave it and go. Just quickly flip through, understand what is there, because your brains are that sharper enough to understand what is the context. And just remember that much and go, rather than leaving it complete. Number 2, how quick you can read what you have done already is something which you need to really look at. That means this 15 days, you are only left with one thing, is your confidence. Nothing beyond. If you have not done it, what to do? If you have done it, what to do? In both the cases, is only one thing which is there, confidence in yourself. A moment, I used to do one thing. When I used to get tense for my exam, Vishal bhai, I used to go and sleep next to my mother for 15-20 minutes. And that confidence rejuvenation which was happening was totally different. अब तो मैं दुनिया जीत लूंगा, अब कुछ डर नहीं है, देख लेंगे. तो ऐसा confidence तुम्हारे में लेके आओ बच्चा लोग. So this itself will take you to a different level. What happens is we go down, rather take it up with accelerated speed. That's the only thing. वो एक match हुआ था ना recently, vice chair अपने chairman sir. I don't know, I don't watch IPL. So that match was there in last over. He had hit sixes or something like that.
5 sixes.
Five sixes, which no one expected a person like him will ever hit that kind of six. So
Rinku
you
Yadav.
don't know. Rinku Yadav, you are right. Rinku Yadav. So just imagine, you never know from where the energy will come. If you don't have that energy, you don't have that confidence. If you don't have the confidence, you'll never have energy. Right? And just see a reason. Go and sleep next to your father, mother, sister, brother, your best friend. Talk to that person. He might be doing CA, not doing CA. Don't bother. Just when there is a drop, वो tank full कर दे confidence की हमेशा. 1 लीटर यूज हो गया तो 1 लीटर फुल, 1 लीटर यूज हो गया तो 1 लीटर फुल. बस ये याद रख लो. 15 दिन अपने को यही चाहिए बस. Right?
Thank you, sir. I think, sir, these are the tips. I think very useful tips for the students. I think your tips from both of you, I think is really going to boost the energies and the levels of their students. I think, and they'll be able to move forward for their exam time, sir. Sir, while you are telling about your mother, I am also reminded of one incident. I'll also share with the students. Like one day before the exam, I just had lie down on the bed and I just tried to recollect what I have read for the exam. And suddenly I was all blank. I felt so scared. What am I going to do tomorrow? Because I don't remember anything. It's going to be a total flop show from my side. I just shared it with my mother and my mother said, it happens. It happens when your mind is so full and you're lying down. You feel as if you don't remember anything. Just sleep peacefully, and when the exam will come, paper will come, you will know everything. So I took her tip on the face value and I really did very well in the exam. I think this is something, it happens, and we all share, we are sharing, like sir, chairman sir, vice chairman sir, they are sharing their own experiences with you. So, and nothing like the experience which a person who has reached this level, like our chairman and vice chairman, they've reached this level is because of their concentration. So concentration is one of the way to the success. So have your concentration. And 1 or 2 tips which I'm going to add on is that, sir, I'm advising the students to be very calm. Try to meditate for 5 minutes. Just focus on your goal. Just think what are you going to do for today? Then make the, like sir has said, this 15 days time though is small, but daily your goals will be very long term because it's going to last till your exam time. Sir, I think I haven't made any wrong statement. Maybe
no. I just want to say one thing to our students. एक माँ का आंचल, दूसरा पिता का हाथ. Right? If you are blessed to have these 2 people around you,
yes,
during this 15 days plus 15 days, when you feel insecure, go and sleep next to your mother. Go and tell your father to put his hand on head. There cannot be a powerful blessing than that. Take it from me. There cannot be a powerful blessing than that to regain your confidence. If you have not done well, you will get your answer. If you have done well, no one can stop you winning to get success. Remember this.
True. 100%.
Right. Thank you, sir, for such a say touching type of tip you have given it. I think it really makes sense, sir. Sir, I'll come to our chairman, sir, now. Sir, we come to now the subjects. I think students, they are, so the student who's asking, actually they are from intermediate. They are wanting to know from you how really to revise for the taxation paper 4 and how really to do well in the audit paper, sir?
This is for
Sir, Chairman, sir.
Yeah. So I would just like to add, Vice Chairman, sir, what you and Madam also mentioned, being Chairman Board of Studies, you said Maa ka Achal, Pitaji ka Haath, or what you mentioned?
Pitaji ka Haath.
Pitaji ka Haath, and Board of Studies ka study material. So,
Sir, that's right.
so these are the three things that are going to help you. Yeah. So, coming to the paper on direct tax or the paper 4 at intermediate, or maybe I would say any tax paper, maybe at inter or at final. Like I mentioned, first thing is the understanding of the law, remembering the provision, because these are computational provisions that are there, and that is where we have all been stressing that this is the right time now, and that is why honestly we come out with the mock tests, the 2 series there, where you can appear and evaluate what your strengths are or what your weaknesses are, what you are not able to remember. And I would say even now nothing is lost. If you have not appeared for the mock test, you can still go for the question papers of the earlier exams and the suggested answers, you compare with that. So I would say that Madam and our office have pulled out some of the common mistakes where students made in the November 22 inter paper. I'll just go through some of them that will give you an idea that where students are faltering or where they, I would say, need to strengthen in these last fortnight or so. Some of the common mistakes that were noticed in the November 22 exams, they were like gift received from relatives of relatives up to 50,000 shown as exempt. Now, only gifts from own relatives would be eligible for exemption under 56(2)(10), where students missed out on. Then interest on loan for repair of property not restricted to 30,000. It was wrongly deducted in full, that is 65,000, while computing the house property income. So because it was a self-occupied property, it is restricted to 30,000. But here the deduction was taken. So sorry, it is interest on loan for repair. So there is a restriction of 30,000, which was not applied by the students. While computing the tax payable or the tax refundable, the final number, the TDS was not deducted from the tax liability. So everybody would appreciate that the final amount payable or refundable is after adjustment of the TDS that has been deducted, but that was left out by a few of the students. Students also failed to provide for standard deduction of rupees 50,000 while computing income under the head salaries, though the SSC had not opted for section 115 BAC. So that was another area where the student did not score marks. Also, students, they wrongly considered the threshold limit of 30,000 while applying the provisions for TDS on director sitting fees. Now, this is the only payment that is covered under 194J where there is no threshold limit. Then moving on to the next point is that while computing the total income of an individual, deduction under 80 TTA was not provided in respect of interest on savings account of minor child that was included in the hands of the parent. Now, these are some of the instances that the office has highlighted and which I'm sharing with you. So this gives you some insight into the areas where typically the students are not able to either remember or I would say apply the provisions of the law while answering to the particular question. And when we talk of direct tax, since it's a computation, I would say it is more like a practical question where there would be a stepwise marking also. Now, what would happen typically is that if you miss out on a standard deduction, if you miss out on an exemption, if you miss out on the threshold, there are consequential impact that has on the gross total income, the taxable income, the tax computation, and maybe the final tax liability or the refund that is to be due. So what happens is that it's very, very important that you understand these things. And like I said, whether you have remembered or not, it would only come when you are able to practice, when you actually practice the answers and compare with the actual, like I'm saying, the suggested answers and all. So this was my take as far as the paper on direct tax is concerned. I think, Madam, is that sufficient, or you want to
Yes,
add
sir.
something,
Sir,
or
it is,
Dayal, you want to add something?
sir, sir, I think it's quite sufficient, sir. You have highlighted the key areas. Sir, similarly, if you can highlight for audit as well, sir.
Right. So audit intermediate again, there what happens is that standards on audit, and there are related chapters. There are total 9 chapters on standards out of the 13 chapters. And therefore, that needs to be practiced as much as possible. Understanding the intention of the lawmakers, and after understanding the provisions, you should try to practice. Again, like I said, practice makes a person perfect, and that is what applies to our CA exams also. Now, when we come to some very specific questions that had been asked and the answers, so again, the office has been kind enough to compile this for your benefit, which I would share with you. That there was a question that was asked to explain about the purpose of the analytical procedures, where the students or the candidates, they wrote about the techniques of the analytical procedures, right? So this was one question where the answer was not as per the question that was asked. In another question, the question where it required students to explain duties of an auditor in relation to intercompany transaction within group companies, so where there are intercompany transactions, what are the specific duties of the auditor and what they need to take care while auditing these transactions, and especially which are outside the normal course of business. Now, so what happened? The student, they wrote, many of the students, they wrote the definition of the related parties, but then they did not explain the duties of the auditor about examining such related party or intercompany transactions. So that was another area where students missed out on scoring the marks. Another question I would say that was there about audit documentation that is to be, or I would say the completion of the audit file, the audit documentation. Now there is a 60-day time limit that is there ordinarily for the assembly of the final audit file. Now students were not aware of the 60 days time limit. So, these are some of the things about the audit paper. And audit paper being a theory paper, I feel what Vice Chairman Sir mentioned in the initial remarks with respect to the theory paper, that becomes very, very important. And you have to do the practice of writing the answers and also understanding. And that is where the practical experience, the articleship plays a very important role. That where you have done such, I would say, the practical training, then that helps. So I think that would be my response to the audit paper and how to score maximum in that.
Thank you, sir. Sir, this next question, sir, sir, I'm posing it to sir, Vice Chairman, sir. Sir, is it necessary? This is the student of final, sir. Is it necessary to write word to word, particularly in paper 5, strategic cost and performance management paper?
Sorry, you actually, I lost you in between. So please tell me again.
Sir, it's the question for final. Is it necessary to write word to word, particularly in paper 5? Sir, I know this is your this subject is very close to your heart. Strategic costing and performance evaluation, sir.
I think gave the answer at the beginning when I did the discussion with regards to theory papers. Now, what is word to word mean? Can in a final student remember so much and copy paste as it is? Is it possible, madam? At least I have not come across. Chairman sir, you have come across any person who did the copy paste job? So this is again a myth which people carry in their mind that, I need to reproduce the same thing. This is not some school examination or a college examination. This is more of a professional examination. So the point which I told you was, one, the understanding of the subject, two, sequentializing your points, three, important words and statements which are to be used. These are 3 or 4 things which you need to follow. I don't think anyone is expecting you to write verbatim what has been reported in the study material. You need to do it. That's not humanly possible. So just ensure that, if example in a study material, there is a paragraph written, but I would like to see that same paragraph in point by point. Am I right, Chairman sir? There can be a flow of information which can be written. Point number 1, this is what need to be done. This is 2, this is what to be done. 3, this is what to be done. So when an examiner sees, he doesn't want to see a paragraph again because he's seen so many question papers. Whereas if it is written in sequence, the 2 things which comes out of it is your thought process is communicated to the examiner. Number 2, examiner gets a confidence that you are confident in writing that answer. So a theory paper answer which is written in a paragraph versus which can be written in a bullet point, the answer is very simple, which I used to do my evaluation, is if it is a 6 marks question. Madam, if you just tell me whether it is right or wrong, if it is a 6 marks question, I write it in a paragraph, probability of getting 2 or 3 is there in that answer. It is right. But if I write it in a bulleted point, the probability of getting 5 is also there. So it's basically a frame of mind. So don't think in that line, or don't create that myth in mind that verbatim I have to write in simple terms.
Thank you, sir. Now I come to sir, the chairman, sir. It is the question, sir, which has been, sir. I'm again, sir. The students, sir, what I just would like to share with you. Students are saying they are saluting the efforts of the BOS and the entire the president, vice president, sir, and chairman and vice chairman, sir, for the efforts which the BOS is putting for the preparation of students. And they are also appreciating the classes, the live coaching classes which we are doing. And they are also really appreciating the BOS mobile app, which is very friendly, student friendly. That is what, sir, they are sharing it. So I thought I'll just mention this also. And sir, one of the students is this student. He's a final level student. He's asking, can you please repeat the 721 plan, which has been explained by the vice president, sir? I think, sir, if you can just revisit it and just explain it to the students.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks to all the students who are taking benefit of the efforts that are being put in by the BOS team, and compliments to the Director Board of Studies and her entire team for ensuring that the live coaching classes, the BOS mobile app, the study material, the RTPs, the suggested answers, and everything is made available to the students in time and also in the best quality possible, so that students are able to refer to that. So what I remember, and the most important part that I remember in the 721 was the 7, which is the practical aspect of any subject to start with. So for any subject that you need to remember or you need to implement, the 70% is the practical aspects of that. And what VP sir mentioned, the 70% I would say weightage in the CA curriculum is actually, if you look at it, is attributable to the practical training, the articleship period that a student undergoes in the CA firm. And subsequently also it was mentioned that when you go for a job, the employer would first look at not the number of attempts that you would have given, but they would look at where you have done your articleship from, because it's the 3-year articleship that you have done, and that would give an indication about the experience, the knowledge that you would have, and also I would go a step ahead into the skill sets that you would have got when you are part of forming part of a particular firm. So that is what it is. And let me share with you again on the importance of the practical training, again recollecting from my days, that I remember it was the direct tax paper at the final level, and there was a question that had been asked, and I remember, and you can think that how much important it would have been that even after almost 25 years, I still remember that incident. And I remember that when I was answering the question, I immediately reflected back to the computation of total income that I had been preparing, or I would say assisting my senior in the office with respect to that particular client, and where there was a similar situation that had been asked as far as the question paper was concerned, and I was able to answer immediately. I reflected back that in this particular client's case, this was the computation that we had done. And let me tell you, friends, at that time, we didn't have the software that you put in the input and the computation would automatically come out. We had to, write like you do in the exams. We had to do on every line item. And if there was a change in one number, the whole computation manually, again, we used to recompute and recalculate and change. So what happens is that these are important aspects that you will be able to recollect when you give a lot of stress on the practical training. Another thing also, I would just extend it a bit, that when you talk of the practical training, and especially when you are talking of direct tax, because that was a question asked earlier at inter level, and now again I'm referring to it, is that whenever you make any changes, it makes it holds good for your financial statements, your accounts also. It makes good for your tax also. Is whatever was your original numbers, original calculation, let us say when we talk of financial statements, the profits, the net worth, or whatever it is, when it comes to the computation, the gross total income and the tax liability, and then there were some corrections, there are some rectifications that are done, and the revise. So revise, you may calculate on a line basis, fine. But if you really want to hone the skills, you should do on a summary basis that this was my profit earlier, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 adjustments I have done, and now this is my revised profit, whether that matches or not. When it comes to tax computation, you have a tax liability which you have computed earlier. So your gross total income, you say that capital gains move from 10% to 20%, or there was some adjustment, there was some deduction which was missed out, or some income which was left out. Now, because of which my income changes, now that income changes, then what is the impact that it has as far as my gross tax liability is concerned? Now, the moment you are able to reconcile that gross tax liability before and gross tax liability after, I assure you that you are going to sharpen your knowledge, a lot of skill sets on the various provisions that you are going to apply practically. So this is what I would say. On that 70%, I would request Dayabai to kindly take it forward on the 2 and 1. If you remember what the VP sir had said, honestly, I am not able to recollect the 2 and 1 because my full focus was on the 70% that he had mentioned.
No, the 20 is basically what he said was, what is the communication which you have within the group of peers and all, how you generate that knowledge and all those things. And the 10% part is basically on the theoretical side, which was very clear. But however, I think you have covered the entire context in the right spirit, Vishal. The 70 is the critical part.
Correct.
Okay, sir. Sir, thanks a lot, sir, for refreshing the concept of 721. Now, I'll come to Vice Chairman, sir. Sir, the student is asking, should we attempt the MCQ in the beginning, middle, or end, which will help in time management?
This is for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is a very, it's a choice. Different people follow it differently. MCQ is sometime, a confidence building exercise also, right, Vishal sir? It's a confidence building exercise. You are lucky. So sometime if a person like me will be there, I'll keep MCQ at a little different stage and first try to hide my other answers. Some people will say that, no, let me gain confidence at the beginning. So it's a choice which you have 15 minutes to go through the entire question paper. You decide. If you are pretty confident that you can use, put 30 marks very effectively, put the 30 marks and ensure that you are moving forward with that positive 13 marks. At least the speed for your writing balance 70 will be much higher and you'll get a lot of confidence. Some, if you think that, I need to balance it, it's a choice of a person's frame of mind and the particular state of situation. So I don't have answer for this. It's basically a combination.
If you permit, I would like to, lighten the atmosphere by giving a comparison. कि शादी में जाते हैं तो मिठाई कब खाना?
Correct. Agreed.
पहले खाना है कि you are having the main course, उसके साथ खाना है कि लास्ट में खाना है, ये ऐसा क्वेश्चन था. I would reply कि आप शादी में जाते हैं तब स्वीट्स के लिए, और क्या होता है हर एक शादी में आपका इंटरप्रिटेशन अलग हो जाता है डिपेंडिंग ऑन द स्वीट्स दैट आर देयर एंड द मेन कोर्स दैट इज देयर. आई वुड से दिस वुड बी द आंसर in a lighter vein, how you, at what point in time MCQs should be attempted.
Yeah. So I'll see, Chairman sir, one point which I tell you is the students, your age, my age, also we have been students at that point in time. So, sometimes you want to reassure yourself by asking some questions, but the answers are there with us. This is where the sentiments of a student actually plays an important role. And I can only tell you, if I get an opportunity to just go and hug a student who's writing examination and stand before the examination center, one after another, I hug everyone. I'll be the first person to do it if I'm able to give confidence. Honestly, we all have gone through this pain. Sometimes excitingly asking, reconfirming that, my confidence is right now. Sometimes person slowly will come and tell, sir, how do I do this? He knows that he is not prepared for that particular thing. Well, the answer is very simple. You go and prepare. As simple as that. You don't have answer in between. So, भगवान आकर आपके दिमाग में कुछ ऐसा नहीं बुद्धि देने वाला है नहीं. खुद को पढ़ना पड़ेगा भाई. So the point is very simple. That is how we need to move forward with regards to education. And you guys are all doing well here. Don't worry.
Yes, sir, very right. I think, sir, so both of you have really aptly answered it, and especially Chairman sir has quoted the example of sweets. So it's the choice of the students when they would like to, whether they want to start with the sweet and then come back towards the end again to review it and have the sweet again. So it is the choice of the student. Very well said, sir. And it is the choice, like the student has to take the call at that moment of time. Sir, one more question. I think one last question, very hurriedly, sir, I'm going to ask is to the chairman, sir. What is the importance of RTPs and MTPs in exam, for exam time?
See, I believe the RTP, any material issued by the Board of Studies is important. Let me start with that as a blanket statement, starting from the study material to the RTPs, MTPs, suggested answers, and everything. And see, the name, as the name suggests, that the RTPs, the revisionary test papers, actually they are the revisionary test papers as the name suggests, and they are for revision. And this is the time that the revision should be in full, I would say, progress for all the papers. And therefore, the RTPs, they highlight all the important areas with respect to each of the subjects. And I very strongly believe that RTPs are something very important. And if you ask me, that you should solve the questions that are given in the RTPs, not that they would may or may not appear for the exam, but I feel that that last minute revision by solving the RTPs itself would give a lot of confidence to each one of you. So I would say that yes, they are very, very important, and especially at this point in time, and you should not miss out on the RTPs as well as the MTPs.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one last question, though I said that was the last one, to Vice Chairman, sir. Sir, what are the last minute tips though it is the last minute of our session also. So what are the last minute tips for preparation?
Last minute tips. First and the foremost and the final one is confidence in yourself. That's it. No second thought. Number two, like a main object and ancillary object. Main object is only one thing. Be confident about yourself. Number two, just open your book. Example, I'll take an example and explain how do you do it. I don't want to talk theoretical. The way Chairman Sir, Madam, or I have been talking is coming into your shoes and talking. What you do, example, take an material, which subject you want to take, Madam Auditing? Which paper you would like to take? Tell me any topic, any subject you tell. Shall we take auditing?
Yes, sir.
Now, today is a day. Today you have 15 days. Today is the day. As soon as we close this session, go and open auditing material. Put the auditing material in front of you and see total number of chapters are how many. Right? Next to that, you write your confidence level on that particular topic. That means you know if out of 100 percentage which I need to give it per subject, example, professional ethics, I am 100% confident. So let me write 100% there. If you talk about a bank audit or might be some other topic, standard on auditing, I have done 70%. Yes, still I have not done 30%. First, answer your confidence. Where do you stand? Be very clear. Write that percentile, and then balance part is only thing which you need to work on. You know what happens? For the 10%, 5%, 20%, we lose the entire confidence of 80% if you talk about, or 70% if you talk about. So what you need to do is, in this pressure situation, write the topics. Where is your confidence? What is that you need to focus? You know your answers very clear. Don't bother about it. And focus on your weaker points. And you know what is a trick of the mind? The trick of the mind is what you could not understand in last couple of months, you will understand in that 1 hour. The reason is only one, or even if you don't remember, understand, you will remember it that 1 hour, because this is a solution of pressure. This is a solution of pressure. When pressure, you will try to read what you have not read, and what you do is all balanced subconscious mind is having that answer in your what you have prepared well, and the conscious mind will have retaining power of that small thing which you have missed out. So God grace, if there is a question coming from there, just you will reproduce everything. In the sense, you will remember in that fear, not in the confidence of remembering or understanding. Right, Vishal bhai, am I right or wrong? So don't leave that 10%, 20%, 30% which is there left out. No, don't go with incomplete preparation in examination hall. Quickly run through. If you are taking time to run through, I'll tell you one more game which you need to play with your mind is call a friend or a chartered accountant or a known person whom you know. Tell that kindly brief me what is there in this particular topic. Believe me, some people have habit of reading and retaining, and the most powerful is listening and retaining. You get my point? So what you have to do is you have to go to a friend or a known person who has done the topic well, tell that person to tell you, and then flip the entire thing to write an answer. You know, you might have sat with the topic for hours together, getting up in the morning, open the page, looking at it, doing nothing, getting into head. But in the last moment, this will work for you. And the third important part is when you get into the hall, don't see here, there. You just think about yourself. You have to perform, you have to back, you have to bowl, you have to feed. Point is, don't bother who is taking how many papers. That boy is doing little like this, that boy is doing little like this. And the most important part is when you get into hall, take your pen, pencil, calculators, these, that, whatever is required, put it in a nice packet so that you don't forget. That creates another pressure, right? And the other part is, after completing examination, coming out, I'll tell you, Chairman, you will also agree one fact. You or I or Madam has, are expert in certain area, in some subject, right? Example, you are expert in auditing, right? You are expert in accounting standards also. But what happens in examination, when you go and write examination of accounts or auditing, your expectation levels are very high, that I can do it well, but we perform little low. But we have performed based on the paper perfectly right. So we get demotivated. We think that we have not done the paper well. Madam, you might be excellent in direct taxes. You have done it very well. You know everything. But paper benchmarking, when you look at, you get little array, I would have written much better. But technically, you have written much better only. And there are certain examples which we have seen in past where a person said, I thought I'll fail and I got 50. I would have done well for other papers. I made a mistake of my life. I thought I'll fail, so I just lost everything. So what I request all the students is, last minute preparations are nothing. It's a play of mind. You have to control your mind and ensure that you don't get bothered. Just be what you are. Complete paper, exam over, fate accomplished. खत्म दे दिया मैं, अब इसके बाद मेरा कुछ भी हो मैं कुछ नहीं कर सकता. Next paper के लिए prepare करना चालू करो. Don't even discuss with your friends. Don't even talk to anyone. Don't do that. Not worth. Not worth. Your expectations might have been much higher. You have performed a little lower. Your expectation was a little lower, but you have performed very well. But वो confidence है ना, दोनों जगह पे हिला हुआ है. So please, my suggestion to you all students is just focus on your examination. Focus on what you need to prepare, how much you need to prepare. As I told, 70%, 10% analyze what is left out. Just ensure that at least here to certain answers, which you can actually write it in examination and get the 2-3 marks. And more importantly, more than this 2-3 marks, the confidence of missing out on the 20, 30, 10 number of the chapters or the percentage will actually kill the entire fear in your mind. So that is what my solution is now.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sir, anything, Chairman, sir, you would like to add?
Yeah, sure. So, I have jotted down in 3 categories, like before the exam, during the exam, and after the exam. So, Vice Chairman sir has already covered most of them, I would say. So, before the exam, the confidence level, it has to be at your very high confidence level, because, if you're low on confidence, that would immediately impact your answers. So, you have to be high on confidence. That is one thing. You have to have a very, I would say, positive attitude. In fact, I would say, you remember these 3 words, I can, I will, and I must. मैं तो बोलता हूँ उसका प्रिंट आउट हाथ से लिख के घर पे चारों ओर आप लगा दो कहीं पे भी. That wherever you go, those positive words, they should be there to energize you and work in the right direction. Second thing, before the exam, please ensure students you take all the things that are required for that particular paper, because these are situations that unnecessarily create panic. कि मैं कैलकुलेटर भूल गया क्योंकि कल थियोरी का पेपर था, मैंने बैग चेक नहीं किया, कैलकुलेटर डाला नहीं आज, and आज प्रैक्टिकल पेपर है, मैं कैलकुलेटर भूल गया. Now see, these are small things, but I have seen situations at the exam center also where suddenly the students gets panicky, I've forgotten this. So please ensure that you check everything that you are required to carry. It's there with you when you go for the exam. Always reach in time. Again, that is one thing that that 15-minute margin somehow वो reading time बच्चे कभी-कभी भूल जाते हैं. वो ऐसा सोचते मेरा 2 बजे से पेपर है, तो they reach 5 minutes before 2. And so I would request that please also understand that 15 minutes, reach in time, be comfortable, calm down, sit in your place. Again, like I said, these are small things, but I have seen in my experience these really impact the performance of students. And before the exam, always pray. It calms you down. जो anxiety रहती है, stress रहता है, वो थोड़ा normalize कर देता है. During the exam, like Dayabai rightly mentioned, and I would put it in this way, mind your own business. That is the words that I use, that what others have done. And one thing I have always seen is that the panic attack कब होता है, when the panic attack happens is that when somebody else in the room raises hands for a supplementary. And that is that. I know many of the students over here who have appeared for the exam would be able to relate. And friends, let me tell you why get, and honestly, I have experienced this the first time something happened like this. I said, "Arey yaar, he has taken a supplementary." And I checked the number of pages that I have filled up in my answer book, and I find that I'm far behind. And then, like Dayabai said, it's a mind game. So what I started talking to myself is actually, that maybe that student had written one answer which was totally wrong of 5 pages. So he canceled those 5 pages and he has rewritten it. So that is why he has asked for a supplementary. Otherwise, I and he are at par. Nobody is ahead of me and I have to focus on my. So that is how I brought myself back in answering. Or maybe I would say that the handwriting of mine are small, or maybe I at times, I'll tell you, these are the narratives which I used to talk to myself in my mind. That I also said that some other student, when that raised, I said that वो एक line छोड़ के लिखता था, इसके लिए उसका paper जल्दी खत्म हो गया answer book. And this is how I used to bring about positivity. Not that see, you can't, somebody raises and you have to see that. You can't close your eyes, but at the same time you have to talk to yourself and calm yourself down that you are on the right track and not to get distracted by such things. So that is what I say. Please mind your own business. You time your answers, like the 15 minutes, like I said, that against each answer that you are going to attempt, write your target time that I'm going to complete this answer within this many minutes, so that you have time to review your answer paper at the last minute, 5-10 minutes, in case there are some mistakes that might, or you want to add on something, you have those 5-10 minutes spare that is there. And after the exam specifically, again, answer appear for all the papers. Please don't start judging yourself after one paper that I would be successful, I would not be successful, and therefore I don't want to give the rest of the papers. This is the greatest injustice that you would be doing to yourself and your parents and your family members. So my request is, friends, irrespective whatever has happened, appear for all the papers, go home, take rest for a while, right? That 15 minutes, half an hour of nap, you have to shut out whatever has happened in that paper or in the preceding day, and you have to again reopen the next door for the next paper that's going to happen after 2 days. So that is important. Be confident that your paper was fine. And another important thing, friends, again, which I have seen many students doing, do not discuss answers after the exam is over. Because you don't know what the right answer is. And suddenly I find students that they start assuming that their friend, who is a very good person, very intelligent person, उसने X आंसर दिया है कोई प्रैक्टिकल पेपर में, मेरा कैलकुलेशन में प्रॉफिट Y आया है, इसलिए मेरा गलत है और मेरे 10 मार्क चले गए. I have seen students doing these things, and therefore I'm taking this opportunity, I'm taking this liberty to discuss with you that these are some things which you need to keep in mind to avoid as far as possible. And finally, last word from my side, just remember those 3 words: I can, I will, I must. My best wishes to all of you, and I'm confident that all of you would be successful in the upcoming exams. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think the last 3 sentences, I can, I will, and I must, that is something is very important. I think that's the key words from both of your side. And these are the keywords of Board of Studies, and these are the keywords for your success. And before now we end, I'll thank our Honorable Chairman, sir, and our Honorable Vice Chairman, sir, for giving the specific tips. And they have I hope they would have cleared all your doubts which are there in your mind. And in case the students who have not been able to see these sessions, I advise to the students who are already watching to share it with their peers and advise them to also see it. It is really going to make a difference to you. And I thank our Honorable President, sir, and Honorable Vice President, sir, also for giving you the specific tips for excelling in your exams. And I hope you will rather follow all these things and you will do very well in your exams. Students, one last thing from the BOS, that please download the BOS mobile app. If you have not already downloaded, do download it, because it will give you everything what you want. You will be updated. And one more thing, another is just ensure that you have done the You have gone through the latest amendments till 31st October 2022, which are applicable for the May 23 exams. And these are the key things. And plus, wherever you feel you are having any doubts, our recorded lectures are there for May 23. You can always go to that specific topic, see that point. In case still you are having some query, you can post your query on the BOS mobile app on the Ask Your Query section. Our faculty will respond to you in no time, and so that you don't go to the exams with any doubts in your mind. So be very cool, calm, and have confidence in yourself. And I think the chairman sir and vice chairman have already given you all the tips, and they have all, from the side of Board of Studies, we are wishing you all very best. Keep making use of the BOS initiatives. Come to us. We are there for you. We are there with you. We have taken one step ahead. You have to take also another step ahead so that we can hold hands and we can take you forward in your journey. So thank you very much, and all the best to all the students, and all the best. And what I'll say is I'll thank our chairman and vice chairman once again for sparing their valuable time. And like sir, I've said, we are all there for them. So students, we are all there for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Best
Thank you. All
wishes
the
for
best
all
to the
the
students. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
you.